You're listening to the Tony and Josh Show.
Howdy ho there, neighbors. You know the drill by now. We're going to be getting the show going here in just a few minutes. Oh, lovely. Hearing some weirdness on the recording. Always great to find out right at showtime. So anyway, we'll power through it, hopefully, and waiting for Josh to check in, and we'll get started as soon as we all get on the same page. Don't forget you can join us at theTonyandJoshShow.com. There's a little chat room at the bottom of the video there that you can crack wise, and hope you're joining us for the live show tonight. May have just been as simple as I had the headphone volume down. Yeah, that sounds about right. Panicking for panic's sake. So I have made contact with Josh, and we can all stop panicking. And when I say we all, I mean me, because I don't like doing the show by myself. Nope. Do not like trying to come up with stuff by myself. It's too hard. It's like work. You know, I thought I had fixed this buzzy problem coming from this this channel on the compressor limiter gate, and it seems to keep coming back. I may have to switch channels. Hopefully I don't have to do that in the middle of the show. At least I know which one it is, so I can reach over there and slap it. Making changes here. We got a new piece of equipment in the studio last night, and got it hooked up. Going to be controlling the audio to Josh now a little better, and I'm kind of concerned that he's going to be able to hear me okay. So I'm looking forward to him calling in so I can make sure it's working. Test. Oh, that's interesting. Go back over here, and let's see. Audio seems to be down a little bit. Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. Well, that knob needs to be in a specific place. It's funny, you get these things set, and then you don't mess with them, and when you got to mess with them, you go, well, what does that thing do again? Yep, well, we've all been married, right? You know, I'm going to call it that I bet you that I have to wind up changing channels on this thing before the night is over. And see, the audio sounds normal now, and I didn't do a damn thing. I guess things are getting old. Might be time to buy something new. Well, the nice thing is that I've got two of these compressor limiter gates. I can always move everything to the second one. Thinking ahead, chids. Thinking ahead, kids, children, whichever the one I could come up with. Hey, I think Josh called. Let's see. Oh, he did. Oh, gee, I wish Skype would quit messing with how they do these things. They've come up with a way to automatically update Skype without you even knowing, and then they change the way it looks and functions. Bastards. How dare they, giving away free stuff and then expecting you to just put up with any kind of thing they do. So I'm going to let the music fade out so Josh can jump in here in his 4x3 sized video.
Yeah, I'm going to work on that here. I might have to shut things down for a second here. I just had some issues getting things started up and then back working again.
That happens as you get older, at least from what I've heard.
Oh, jeez. And since
Come on, you know what to expect.
Since I've got some new audio chain stuff hooked up, I definitely have some levels to adjust because, I can barely understand you.
Well, that might be because of the audio things that I changed.
Yeah, you sound super hot, overmodulated.
Why, thank you. Oh, you know what? I was taking a picture. You know what? I was taking a picture last night of the controls, and I had it turned up so I could get more deflection. Not really deflection because there's no needle, but more LEDs lighting up while I was taking the picture. So I dropped it down to the -6, where I found that at least it sounded best on Skype. So is that any better? Or is it still too hot?
No, it sounds too hot still.
Okay, how about that? A little chatter. Make sure that you can get an idea of what if you're hearing something that's hot or not. Need a Paris Hilton "That's Hot" drop.
No, because I dropped the volume level and your distortion doesn't change.
Yeah, it wouldn't if I'm sending the signal to you. So no change on the level then.
Yeah, no.
Well, let me just turn it off. Can you still hear me there? Right there. Test, test, test.
Well, no, I can't hear you at all.
Okay, good. Good. That means I'm adjusting the right thing. So.
Oh, you were good there for right as soon as you started speaking again. You sounded pretty good, and then you started getting hot again.
Okay, can you hear me there?
Yeah.
How is the level?
That sounds good.
Okay.
So,
well, that's way down there. So let me play some music and see how this sounds to you.
Okay.
That's not a good one.
It's loud. Very loud. I can't even hear myself talk over it.
But do you know the cool thing is? I can hear you talking over it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, that actually was less of a level than what my audio is.
Huh.
Anyway, you focus on getting your video right, and but you can hear me, and I can always adjust the Skype input level too. So the control that I have on this box that I put in is not very fine. You move it a little bit, and it makes a big change.
Gotcha. Yeah, I need to close Skype, I think, or at least close the call. So let me call you right back.
Okay. Success, boys and girls. He can hear me. Let's see if we got anybody in the chat room. Oh, I do need to watch and see if... Just watch and see when Josh calls back. There he is.
No, it's still not it. What is going on here?
And I was going to check the chat room. Oh, Paps Boys are in the chat room tonight. Howdy, howdy. Thank you for joining us. You might let us know if you are hearing both Josh and I, because I made some audio changes. I mean, I see the audio levels rising and falling as we're talking and making noise, but that's never a guarantee that it's working right. I'll be right back. I can hear those birds coming in on the audio, so it's time to cover them up. And Josh has gone away again. I mean, we got video on him. It's just not 16 by 9. It's 4 by 3. And that's the ratio. A length of 4 and a width of 3. You people get your minds out of the gutter. Okay, he's calling back. So, you know, if you see it on your screen as not a 16 by 9, then I don't think you're going to see it here. I mean, I don't think it's going to come through as a 16 by 9 or 10 or whatever thing it is.
Yeah, it's not wanting to switch over. It's showing that it should be.
Oh, so in Skype it shows a 16 by 9 or
no? It's not in the camera controller. It's showing it as a 16 by 9.
I thought maybe it was in the video settings of Skype. There you go. It's doing it now. I mean, you still got a black border, but at least you're at the right aspect ratio. Ah, perfect. What'd you do?
There we go. Went to 360p.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't... all right, whatever.
You know, I don't like to brag, but I did a 360p in Boy Scouts one time.
Everybody had to change their shoes that day.
Well, some people aim higher. They called me the sprinkler. It's funny, I can move your image in the little window, the picture-in-the-picture window, and you're moving and the background is staying static. It makes sense, you know, from a technical standpoint, but just seeing it and I go, hey, oh yeah, of course, that's what would happen. I got to recenter you every time now because the static window that we used to be able to depend upon when using Skype has now gone because they've updated Skype. Okay, I think everything's in place. So I have a lot to say. I mean, I got a lot of notes anyway. A lot to say about the Allison or the Adam Strikes Back segment. So I don't know if you want to hold that off to the end, and if we need to go long, we can, or if you want to start with that and then have the rest of the stuff go long. I don't care. I think based on the interest that was shown on the last episode. We probably want to spend a fair amount of time on this, especially since it's probably over after this.
Yeah.
I think your audio is down a little bit. Give me a little chatter. Let me see.
All right. Well, I can bring it up. It actually looks a little bit low on my board, so there's right about where I think it normally is. How's that sound?
Yeah, you got closer. You got closer to the -6 there, but
okay.
I'm a lot louder than you are.
Huh. Well, yeah, I mean, on my side, you sound normal, so, But yeah.
Okay.
Am I still low? Do you want me to bring something up on my end?
No. Just want to, just kind of comparing the sounds between you and me and trying to get them leveled out. So, you know how that thing that we do whenever one of us hears the other person talking and we immediately stop and then pause and go, oh, you know, because the whole hap duplex thing? I don't think we have that now. I think that, go ahead and start talking while I'm talking.
Well,
when you're talking, I can hear you perfectly fine.
I'm talking,
oh, this is going to be so confusing.
Yeah, it completely cuts you off.
Does it?
If I talk over you, if I'm trying to talk over you, it immediately drops you out.
Oh, I can hear you fine. This is perfect, though, because it means that at least for the recording, we can both talk. So know that, even though you don't hear the change, know that whenever you're talking and I come in, you may have to stop so you can hear me. But if you want to go ahead and make your point, you know, I can pause and then continue. In other words, it'd be more of a flow, like a conversational flow, instead of live from New York, we have Josh on satellite, and then that 2.5 second delay, but for going the 100,000 mile round trip before you know I'm talking.
Okay, I need just about another 5 minutes or so, and I will have another story to use if we decide to so use it.
Okay, that's fine. Did you see that one up there?
All I saw was the Alison Rosen one. I'm
there's
over here because
go ahead. There's another one that I think is pretty funny, especially because how it was reported And then when you get into the meat of the story, you go, well, come on. This is like sensationalism that they're trying to make the story, more interesting than what it really is. I know it's a shocker. Finding out media does that.
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to get me a, not an adult beverage, but a childlike beverage. And I'll be right back. Wish we had some Kool-Aid. I think you were connected when I told you, or when I was commenting about this a few minutes ago. But the Paps boys are with us in the chat room tonight.
Yeah, I heard you say hi to them and stuff. I think I'd clicked off right after that.
So you just do what you're doing. I don't need to slow you. I don't mean to slow you down, but I'll just ask you and the audience. Have you ever gotten a soft drink? Ooh, yeah. And
there you go.
And then you get a glass, ice. You go to pour you got it sitting on your desk or a table or whatever, and then you go to pour the soda into the glass, and you're getting it all in there. You get a nice steady stream. There's no splash going on the outside. You get done. You pick up the glass. You drink your beverage, and you may move the glass around. You don't get it back exactly where it was, or maybe a completely different place. And the light catches the angle of the light catches the desk or the tabletop just right, and you see this circle, a sphere, if you will, of what you would expect to see a nice normal looking desk, but then you see all these little speckles in this like foam area from the spray that had come off of all the carbonation bubbling as you're filling up the glass. I hate those little sticky circles.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm now moving the glass away from my desk to pour my beverage. And I can feel it on my hand, so it shouldn't be a surprise to me. I guess I just didn't figure it was that much.
May I ask what beverage you're drinking?
I am having a cherry Coca-Cola.
I don't think I've had one of those since I was a kid.
They're okay, but I still maintain that the only way to have a proper cherry Coke is to have the Coke from a fountain and the cherry syrup put in it. Alrighty. So one of the disappointing things about this, God, I don't know what it's called. It is a Ultralink Pro. I like the Pro.
Call it a rack mixer.
Yeah, I guess it would be. It has a button. I still need to read about this thing. It has buttons on each channel that says split or mix. So I guess it would be. I guess it's a way so that you can expand your mixer. You can plug more mics or more sources into it, and then use this thing as additional channels. So instead of being able to control everything on the board, you'd have to control the rack and then the overall level for the input that it was coming in on the mixer. But I'm using it for something different. I guess I'm using it more as a splitter, since I am using it to control the output levels to things. And in this case, I'm controlling the output level to the digital recorder and to you. So when my cable comes in, I will be able to move you off of this and onto the mixer. The output, the sub, is what I'm planning on doing, so that I can actually feed the audio back to you without your audio. Although I'm pretty tickled, and I still don't understand really why we've lost the half duplex operation, at least on my side. The Skype half duplex operation, at least on my side. Paps Boy says, beware of the sticky circles. What side of the bed is your sticky circle on, Josh?
No comment.
As long as you don't make them when you sit down, you're doing okay. Not that
Right.
there's anything wrong with that.
Do we have any voicemails to play tonight?
Yeah, but I spent so much time doing the notes, listening to Adam's nasally rant again. I think we're going to have to do it in post. Okay. I didn't do it last week's post-processing.
Oh, okay.
So what we should do is go ahead and make do a voicemail. Yeah, as you're putting it in the notes there, introduce the segment, and maybe we'll come back with we'll do a 5-second pause. So I'll see that there's a gap there, and hopefully I will edit it appropriately, and we won't just have the very bit of interesting awkwardness when we go, oh, hey, got some great voicemails here, and then it's like 5-second pause and go, hey, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Do we have just one? Do we have more than one?
We have
plural.
Three or
Okay.
4, maybe 5. There could be as many as 6.
Well, now.
I just have to look. I think it's 4, really.
Okay, I think I've got... Oh, wow. I just saw your other story. Holy cow. Alrighty, then. All right, I just got to do a quick little update on the show highlights here.
Oh, you know what? I hear some hum. Very, very low. AC hum. But I don't even see anything on the recorder. As in,
that's good.
Like no level. I was wondering about that. I'll have to address that. But if it's that low, I'm sure the noise filter, if you will take care of it. Oh, and I just noticed I don't have that computer noise. I had very low-level computer noise that I would hear, and it would not come out on the recording. I don't think you would hear it either. It's just completely quiet now. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with the exception of the very slight AC hum. So we had one from last week that I forgot to mix in, and we didn't even mention it in the show. So, and then we have 3 from tonight. Three for tonight, so a total of 4. And I believe they're all Nikki G. I would, and also too, I haven't heard them, so I would probably stay away from numbering how many there are. Let me just look and see if they're all Nikki G, and then we can just say we got a few voicemails from Nikki G.
I wouldn't even say the name. I would just say, and we got a few voicemails, and here they are.
Yeah, the three most recent ones are all Nikki G.
Hey, this is Nikki G, and I want to talk about racial unrest especially in my part of the country. Seems to be a police officer shooting certain ethnic people for doing.
That probably sounds like a serious one. I'll stop my laughter.
Holy guacamole! Apparently, SpeakPipe cuts you off after 1 minute and 30 seconds, which doesn't help.
Okay.
I thought it was 3 minutes.
That's
that's the
the
voice.
Is Nikki G. And it was 18 degrees this morning when I woke up here in.
That's a testicle shrinker.
Hey, this is Nikki G.
Yeah.
And
that's so. I believe we have 4 total from Nikki G.
All right.
Well, I don't know. That's an old one. That's from a month ago. Anyway, I'll listen to them in post, and then when I go to put them in, figure it all out.
Cursor.
Curses.
I just typed a bunch of gobbledygook, and I have no idea where it is.
It's probably in chat on Tony and Josh show.
No, I don't even have that open yet.
I don't quite get it, but Pap's Boys said, beware of sticky circles, and then they say, I love Japan.
Yeah, the Japanese always doing weird stuff.
I think the Philippines would have been a funnier joke.
Okay, I just need to move the position of these 2 stories. I want to put this one, I want to do the other one last. Come on. Why are you not highlighting? Okay, I want to just close that document and come back into it. Maybe that'll do it. Now we're getting a late start tonight.
Really strange. I'm going to turn the light on so we can be ready whenever everybody's ready.
Okay, I just need another 30 seconds here as soon as things start cooperating. Come on, there we go. Okay, you can go ahead and get going. Oh, yeah?
And, of course, I'm wondering if this one more piece of equipment I've added is just enough to put the breaker over the edge with the big light
on. I didn't even think about that. Do you have a high and low setting on that light? I mean, can you drop the voltage a little bit?
Oh, it's all adjustable. But I suspect that what they do is instead of turning the light on and off, actually dropping the voltage and the current by turning it on and off like they would with LEDs, the potentiometer or rheostat or volume control, if you will, on the back of the light, it probably just siphons off to what do you call it, to a load like a resistor to reduce the amount of voltage, so the power consumption doesn't actually change. It's probably you can have it full bright or almost off, and it probably all pulls the same amount. Yeah, definitely got a little AC hum in there. Hopefully that's not coming across to anybody. I have to do something about my lights. I'm going to try to do a setup like what you have there, where I use a light to highlight the green screen, and then a different light to light me up.
It's a couple of cheesy desk lamps. I got one on the floor and one above me.
Well, the problem that I have is with all these monitors, I don't have any place for a light. So I almost have to have a stand.
Hang one.
Yeah, well, I really need something that's more towards head level than above, so that it'll actually light my face. I mean, yours, just looking at the angle of light, I would say yours are probably around the size of your head. Not size of your head, sorry about that. Yeah, you got indirect lighting going on there.
And then down behind me.
You need to order some more stuff so you can get more egg crate material.
Working on it. Oh, here. Let me show you. Up there. It's even on the...
Yeah, I know. I was seeing all those things in the crazy positions and stuff.
It works.
Yeah, I was just... People walk in and go, don't worry, I'm a professional. Don't even think about it. I'm a professional.
Got this. I know what I'm doing.
I am so glad that you can hear me, because the Skype thing worked, but until you actually do it, you don't know for sure. And so, I've kind of learned the hard way that whenever you start making changes to things, it all unravels whenever it is showtime.
Quite quickly.
Yeah.
I was really worried tonight because I went through 3 different configurations before I finally found, okay, this will work. I just don't have the adjustability that I would like, but it works. So I will still probably mess around with some stuff.
Is this
later.
The dual mixer thing that you were talking about on the chat today?
No, I didn't. I got out of work about 2.5 hours late tonight, so I didn't have the time to come home and mess with things. So it was, come home and very quickly throw together a dinner. And then rush in here in the studio and try and do some audio chain reconfiguring, and obviously I really shouldn't have, but I try to do it anyways.
Do they have a Little Caesars pizza in your area?
Yes, they do.
Where you can get the $5 pizzas. Do. Man, I am loving that I can talk and you can talk, and the level doesn't change. I mean, on this side. The important side because it's being recorded.
Well, yes.
That's what I'm referring to. See, you thought I was going someplace else, and I wasn't. I'm sorry. I'm so sad that it's still dropping on your side, though, because you need to be able to hear the thing the same level, too. And then we can...
Well,
it's like being in the same studio.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, because just right there, as soon as I said one of these days, it cuts you off like a gate.
I don't know why it's doing it on my side. I mean, I don't know why it's working on my side. I love it whenever you do some stuff, you work hard, you design, you lay out, you put it all together, and then it does something completely unexpected, but you like it.
It works.
I mean, I really figured I was going to have the other cable and get you on the output channel that I can physically press a button so that the audio is not being sent back to you. And before we could do this, before it would start working the way we wanted it to. Of course, we need to get on the other audio software anyway. But I think that combination of these things is really going to make things sound better. All right, well, let's get started. Stop your yammering. I like doing that during a movie. I'll be talking and I'll be saying something, and then something exciting's happening on the movie, and I go, "Okay, hush," to my wife, and she goes, "What?" Like, you were the one talking. Movie, interesting.
Welcome to the Tony and Josh Show. Tony and Josh are the functionally illiterates of the podcasting world. Now here they are. Tony and Josh.
Hey, it's episode 54 of the Tony and Josh Show, and we've made some miracle type of design work here, and you're actually going to be able to hear Josh over the music.
That's right.
Unbelievable. And you can even hear him while I'm talking. Wait a minute. That's probably not a good idea.
Right. Oh, no. We can only have one of us talking at one time now. Yeah, we've done some rewiring here at the Tony and Josh studios, respectively, even though we are a few states away from each other. So hopefully we are coming to you live and direct, as we do every Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Central, over at TonyandJosh.com. You guys are new to Tony and Josh Show. Well, we're here to inform and stumble over our own words, entertain, and give you a laugh or two, if we're doing our jobs correctly, that is. We've searched the interwebs high and low, and, well, not really. We haven't done much work at all, in fact. But we've got some stories to share with you guys tonight, and hopefully you guys will enjoy them as well. Tonight's show, folks, we have got a bunch of stuff for you tonight. We have a new candidate for Father of the Year Award. Showering is apparently for Whitey. Ain't nobody got time for that. You find the weirdest things in L.A. if you look hard enough, and Alison Rosen is still looking for a new best friend.
Sad but true, Josh. Sad but true. And there's literally thousands of people willing to be her best friend, I'm sure. Well, we had a hell of a download of the last show, which dealt, at least in part, one of our 4 stories about Alison Rosen's firing, and we're going to go into more depth on that tonight. In fact, I want to do a quick shout-out to Joe Somebody, who quite skillfully tweeted, please... Can you just send me the time index for the Allison part? Because I don't want to hear what you guys had for dinner over the holidays.
But first, we're going to tell you guys what we had for dinner over the holidays.
Exactly.
Here for the next 37 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, that's a joke. Coming up. So then once I provided that time index, and he went and listened to the show, he came back and made the comment, which is fine. Terrible commentary. Terrible. Not mediocre.
Horrible.
Not it could have been. It could have been better. No encouraging words of, that you were almost right, but you could have done. No, it was like terrible commentary, which is fine because it still was a download, right?
Yeah, I guess so. No, we encourage you guys to actually give us that feedback and criticize what we're doing here because, well, we certainly are not professionals, even though we may appear to be and sound like we are sometimes. I assure you we are just a couple of knuckleheads with mics. You guys can do that, give us that feedback, and give us that criticism if you'd like, a couple of different ways. You can use our SpeakPipe feature. It's basically like an answering machine on the Internet. Mm-hmm. You can find that at TonyandJosh.com. It's right over there on the right side. You'll see it pop up when you guys open up the website, and you can leave us a message that way. You just have to have a microphone hooked up to the computer or be using your smartphone while you do it. You guys can also tweet us during the live show at Tony and Josh Show, and make sure you guys put in those hashtags Hashtag Tony and Josh. You can also watch the show live as we do broadcast it live every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Central at tonyandjosh.com. And there you guys can join in on the fun and chat with us live during the show. That's right. You can actually chat with us as we do this broadcast. So a number of different ways you guys can get a hold of us. So make sure if you've got something to say, you got to reply. There we go. To any one of our stories. You guys can get a hold of us any number of different ways.
Yeah, and we do like hearing from you. In fact, going back to the last show and the broadcast that we did on all the downloads, I had a total of 8 Twitter interactions having to do with just the Alison Rosen segment that we did last episode. So I really enjoyed that because it's great to have that interaction. I don't know, it's like talking to yourself. At least Josh and I have each other that we can talk to, but when we find out that whenever you're listening to us and you're interacting with us, that means a lot to us because it means you care and you're listening. You really like us.
You really like us.
The Sally Fields moment. Yeah, poor Sally Fields. That was great, though. Very heartfelt thing that she said. So let's actually, talking about feedback, let's get to our voicemails because, gosh, somebody takes the time to give us a voicemail. We ought to listen, right, Josh?
Yeah, we're going to play them, that's for sure.
Well, we really appreciate those voicemails. And always, Nicky G, whenever he calls those things in, they're always winners and sometimes a little serious.
Yeah, actually, he does have a serious side, takes out the tinfoil hat, and he's a whole new character.
Whole different character, especially if birds have landed and left little presents on the tinfoil. He becomes a completely different person that you wouldn't want to be around.
So, let's see. I've got this story about what's going on in L.A., and this is definitely an interesting story because there are some weird things happening in L.A. They say, Portland is known, and Portland is my hometown, folks, Portland, Oregon, and they say keep Portland
that's on the
weird.
West Coast, though.
Yeah, it is on the West Coast. I think that's where I'm at. I have no idea. I failed geography. So in this particular area of L.A., an 8-foot alligator was found in a box with 2 cat carcasses in a suburban Los Angeles backyard. After the alligator was seized, officers asked neighbors in a suburban I have no idea. It's one of those vans.
Van Nuys.
To let them, there we go. To let them know if any small pets have disappeared over the last 4 decades. The homeowner said they have owned the alligator since it was a baby. Reptile experts estimate the animal is about 40 years old. The female alligator named Jackson, I'm not sure how that works, was seized Monday after a neighbor reported seeing it, which begs the question, has he been blind for the last 39 years and 364 days? At the house, officers were refused entry into the yard, so they went to a judge and quickly obtained a search warrant. The alligator was transported to the Los Angeles Zoo, where it will be kept while Animal Control conducts an investigation. Laura Matson, the homeowner, said that she had been caring for the animal since her husband died 2 years ago. His body has never been found. Okay, so the neighbor is off the hook for now. She said she had several neutered feral cats at her home, but that there was no way she would have ever fed them to the alligator. Right. She said she's been trying to find a home for Jackson and even called the zoo, but she said they were full. During the investigation, it was discovered that Matson's home phone was actually disconnected. I'm pretty sure there was no phone calls ever made. It is illegal in Los Angeles to keep wildlife without a permit. Officials fully expect to present the city attorney with enough information to actually file formal charges. Officers also found a large tortoise and some live cats at the home. Those apparently were not being fed to the alligator. Officers with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife were called in to investigate the tortoise's presence at the home because they didn't have enough to investigate, apparently. Officers think the alligator was kept in the large wooden box with a lid at this time of year because they are cold-blooded creatures and aren't very active. It was found under foliage and debris. You have to be looking for it to locate it. Brenda Barnett of Los Angeles Animal Services said authorities got a tip last year about an alligator at the exact same home, but they found nothing. Apparently, they weren't looking hard enough. The house is a family residence with multiple occupants, but no children were found there. However, there were lots of play sets and, of course, little small shoes all around, and no bodies were ever found.
You can't look in a box. The cardboard box, it's impenetrable, so you can't open the box.
It's weird because they had a sign out front that says licensed daycare. So I don't know. There's
pick up after 6 is encouraged.
Yeah,
6 is dinner time. See what I did there? It's not.
Man.
Hey,
yeah.
Do not feed your children to alligators. We at the Tony and Josh Show, we do not support that.
We do not encourage nor condone such activities. So please do not do such things.
Yeah. Anyway, that was pretty funny. I would have thought that the giveaway would have been the 4 legs sticking out of the elongated box, and the box moving around by itself, and the ever so often.
Well, you think that the kids around the neighborhood, playing softball or baseball or something, oh no, that we hit the ball into the old woman Matson's yard.
Just
don't
let
go
it go
in there.
Yeah, just let it go. That's worse than that pit bull or whatever the hell it was from the Sandlot, where those kids would go in after the spitty ball.
Little Billy hasn't been seen since last summer. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
Well, lid for every pot. Everybody's into something. So, hey, if an alligator's your thing, well, more power to you.
Well, you said that having an alligator in Louisiana, I'm sorry, not Louisiana, L.A., California, was illegal. What isn't illegal? What isn't illegal there? I mean, I can't. If it wasn't for the weather, the constant 72 degrees, and the no rain, and the mountains, and the Hollywood stars, and so on and so forth. Oh, and the redwoods. Can't forget about the redwoods. There would be nobody with a right mind living in California. Absolutely not, because nobody would put up with that crap except the lefty loons.
Yeah, and I heard owning an alligator is known in the state of California to cause cancer.
Of course.
Because everything in the state of California is known to cause cancer.
Try to smoke it or snort it. It's going to cause cancer. I guarantee you.
Well, that would be a great segue into my later story, but I hear there's a story about showering here in the news that we're going to talk about, Tony. What do you got on that?
I think I'm for it, and I think that showering with a friend, preferably, at least in my preference, opposite sex would be, my wife, I should say, would be my preference. Sorry, honey.
Well, don't tell your girlfriend that. She might, because I heard she likes baths. But
sorry, honey. Anytime I say the opposite sex or whatever, I'm always talking about you. Let's just put that under. Let's put a pin on that. Stick it on the magnetic pin and stick it on the refrigerator. So it's just an unspoken rule. That way I don't have to backtrack so much. Yeah, this was kind of interesting. So the headline that I saw was "Black actress showering every day is such a white people thing." Sorry. I don't know if you guys know it. My wife, who is a naturalized American citizen, is originally from Mexico. Moved here like in 3rd grade, so she's almost as much American as I am. See what I did there? But basically she's been here for many, many years. And so anytime she says white people or you people or whatever, it's me. She's referring to me, and
to you specifically.
I remember, yeah. And I remember an incident when we after we were just very first married, that she made the comment. She was saying whatever the hell she was saying, and I was saying whatever the hell I was saying, and what she was saying was just so outlandish to me. I made the statement, "I can't believe you people," and dead stop in the conversation.
No.
Dead stop in the conversation. She goes, "What do you mean, you people?" I said, "You people that think that way." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And it just went back to going on. So it's okay if I have a disagreement with her, but I can't have a disagreement with her because she's not white. So anyway, anytime I see this, it makes me giggle because it's such a two-way street. I'm sorry, it's such a one-way street where you can't say things about black people, but it's fine to say things about white people. Why? Because white people don't go bat, crazy anytime you hear it. It's just you just laugh and go, okay. I don't know what it is. It's because of the privileged world we live in, or whatever reason. It doesn't bother us. Anyway, so during an appearance on The View, actress Nana Riviera, is it Nana or Naya?
Naya or Naya, I'm going to guess.
Naya, because Nana would be my mom. No, I put a little thing in parentheses here after her name. Who? I've never, but I'm old and I don't keep up with the hip thing you kids are doing these days. So anyway, she revealed her personal hygiene habits. Now that sounds kind of bad, doesn't it? It sounds like she doesn't shower every day. But wait for it.
I was going to say, it depends on how graphic and descriptive that she got.
Well, when they start off the thing, the headline of Black Actress Showering Every Day is Such a White People Thing, the assumption there is she doesn't shower every day. I mean, and this girl's beautiful. You see the picture of her, look her up on the internet, guys.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
She is definitely pretty.
Beautiful woman, and really when I saw her, I didn't know that she was black. I was thinking maybe she was Latin or et cetera. So it was, when I see this Black Actress thing, I was kind of surprised. It probably has to do with not knowing the person anyway. From anything that she's done on television, stage, or wherever.
Well, if I may be so bold to judge a book by its cover, she's about as black as I am Japanese.
I saw. So anyway, she says, here's the quote. She says, "I have a theory about showering. Oh, that's so hard to say.
The thing with the water,
the drip, the soap, yeah." And she says, "I think that white people shower a lot more than ethnics. I feel like showering more than once a day or every day is such a white people thing." So apparently there was some surprise and indignation and some sniffing there on The View because she followed her shocking statement with the disclaimer, "My mom is half black, half Puerto Rican." Oh, there's only two halves. She showers every day. So I can say this. In other words, it's okay. I can say this because I'm one of them type thing. But I can say I'm now married to a white man, and he showers a lot, like 2-3 times a day. I'm like, what are you doing? Now, to me, unless you're working outside or having a lot of sex, there's no reason to shower 2 or 3 times a day, or maybe going to the gym, working out, getting sweaty, getting nasty. That's certainly.
Yeah, but then you shower there. You don't shower, back at home 2 or 3 times a day. I don't know, but
I don't know about you, Josh. I don't like making the guys feel bad, so I shower at home. So just put a towel in the Jeep seat so it doesn't soak in, and just come home and shower. I'm a little private that way.
That tile floor is mighty cold.
But anyway, it's perfectly reasonable. I can understand, somebody going, especially if you're the person washing the towels. Why are you taking showers 2 or 3 times a day? So, but it's just so funny how they, it really caught my eye because it was like a Black Actress says, showering every day is such a white people thing. And I'm going, yeah, it is, because people should shower once a day. I can't go without showering. I get too oily feeling.
Oh yeah, no, I'm the same way, and I personally, if we get a little too personal here with our own personal hygiene, I mean, I do shower every day. I've got a very strict morning routine. It's by the book. I've been doing it for a decade. It doesn't change. It's the same every day, and at least Monday through Friday, that is. And that involves taking a shower, and that's just one of my things. And I mean, there's very seldom, a couple times a year, something like that, I end up sleeping through my alarm or something like that, and I wake up, about the time that I'm supposed to be leaving the house, and it's like, and it's flying out the house, out the bed, and no shower, nothing.
Oh, really?
Throw on whatever clothes are laying around. And
I can't do that. I just will not feel right during the day if, especially my hair. My hair gets very oily very quickly.
Oh, yeah. No, mine too. But then, I come home and I will take a shower before bed. So, and then the next morning it's back to business as usual. So, now I looked at this because I had no idea who you were talking about, who this actress was. Apparently she is an actress, from Glee, which is a show that I don't watch.
Yeah.
And, because I'm not really a huge fan of singing shows at all. And I hate musicals. So it's definitely not in my wheelhouse, as it were. But apparently, she, in one of the top Google results when I was looking this person up, is that she has made a public apology for the white people showering comment. She says it was supposed to be a joke.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it is. Taken completely out of context, or not knowing exactly. And I wasn't there. I didn't see this episode of The View. I actually haven't ever seen an episode of The View.
So. You have.
So I don't know the context of the rest of the conversation. If there was anything, kind of a disclaimer before, a qualifying statement after, I have no idea. So, definitely. All this talk about, playing the race card, I think that's about as racy as it gets right there.
Yeah, it really is. And again, I'll mention it's just kind of like Christians where, you can do drawings and say bad things and do bad things to Christians, and Christians, they may get upset, but really required by law, biblical law, you're supposed to love and forget, just forgive and forget and move on with your life and be confident in what you're doing and what you know, and the other people will come around or they'll, burn in hell for eternity. So just, don't worry about it. Same thing here. I think it's the same deal with white people. You know what your personal habits are. If you're a hillbilly and and Saturday is special because that's the night you take baths or showers or take a dip in the outhouse, whatever you use to be cleanly. Now you mentioned
blue.
You mentioned earlier that those are porta potties. That's a lot different than an outhouse, Josh. Unless you dropped a box of pins in the outhouse, there would be no blue in there. So, you mentioned personal habits, personal grooming habits. Do you your routine, your morning routine? Now, do you have a specific routine in the morning? Like, for example, I learned this the hard way. Whenever I started smelling when I guess going to junior high, and I had to start using deodorant. There were those times that getting ready, I didn't put the deodorant on. And in my defense, 99% of my life I had not had to wear any deodorant, and now I had to start wearing deodorant. So that became my first item. I mean, other than going to the bathroom, once you come out of the bathroom, take the shower, you get out of the shower, number one thing, put deodorant on.
See, I'm like borderline hyperhidrosis. I pit out in the middle of a 30-degree wind chill, and so I mean, the wind blows and I start sweating. It's just one of those things. So yes, deodorant and antiperspirant, sometimes both, are top of the list, ultimate priority. I don't think I have ever, since I have hit puberty, ever forgotten to apply the old pit stick. So that is definitely in the top 3, top 4 of the morning routine.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same situation you're in. I mean, it can be 30 degrees outside, and if I think about exercise, I'll start sweating. Mine comes from my forehead, though. I mean, my head, and starts coming down my face before the rest of the body kind of catches up. But, and I guess that's the world worst, too, especially back then when my hair was longer, because the hairstyle would just go away. I mean, those were the days that I used to blow dry my hair. So it was a big thing, my dad would probably just shake his head because I was doing the hairstyling thing. But if you're going to have your hair long, you got to do stuff to it. Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
like a Beat Al Sassoon commercial over here.
Yeah, but so anyway, that was the reason why I was asking about that, because number one thing on my hit parade in the morning is getting the deodorant on before brushing the teeth or whatever. So
just don't get those two mixed up. That you'll end up with a bad taste.
But your hair will be minty fresh.
I was going to say, yeah, your armpits certainly will be.
So let me jump into this big story that I wanted to talk about, and before we run out of too much of the time. So Allison Rosen firing and Adam's reaction, or as I like to call it, the Adam strikes back. So for you guys that aren't already aware, I think it was on Monday's show, so 2 days ago, because we record the show on Wednesday nights. Adam came on his show and spent the first 20, 30 minutes talking about why Alison Rosen was fired. And he mentioned how happy he was just to leave it as it was, but I think he was getting so much
black
hate mail, if you will. Yeah. I mean, it's not really mail these days. It's all social media, so it's really knee-jerk and instant reaction to people. So it's if you guys have never seen the 70s movie, I think it was 70s, Fahrenheit 451, watch that, because there's bits and pieces of the social media thing in that movie. And I'm sure it's in the book too, but I don't read, so I've never read the book. So, reading, it's for suckers. Let's wait for the movie. Anyway, so I went through before the show, I went back through the first 20 minutes or so of Alison Rosen, of Adam Carolla Show, the first 20 minutes or so, and he and Bald Brian were going back and forth. Now, I will just say, Adam begins with asking the people that rely on him for their employment if he's a great employer. It's a no-win situation.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, he's asking for backup for people that depend on him for their livelihood. And in fact, after
boss, you're the best.
You'd never do that. After listening to it the second time, I realized that one of the people he was talking to, and I think it was the person working the mics and everything for the show, was Gary.
He's got a couple of live producers in the booth, behind. I don't know if you've ever seen the Ace Studios, Adam Carolla Studios there, and they've got actually a little a sound room, if you will. The whole studio is behind glass and insulated walls and all that. And then there's a control booth that is in a separate room. They got a little window that overlooks the table where everybody sits at. And yeah, I mean, he had a couple of his regular, producers, the guys who have been part of the Ace broadcasting team since the beginning,
right?
That were there, and they kind of chimed in as well. And of course, Bald Brian gave his 2 cents as well.
Right. One of the people was Gary, and Gary is the producer for the Allison Rosen Is Your New Best Friend show.
Oh, okay.
And I found it very interesting that not a lot, more towards the end of the conversation, Gary was being asked to say some things and to say, yeah, I remember that or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the same guy that's going to be at Allison's house recording her podcast.
Maybe. Yeah.
I can imagine the conversation. Allison, I had to say those things because, Adam's paying me. Now, if you want to pay me, if you want to pay me, then I can say whatever you want me to say. Hey. Now, I don't think Gary was lying. I think that if I was in that situation, I would try to be as honest as possible and still maintain employment. So,
well, look, I mean, they all kind of, gave their impressions.
Their opinion.
Answered Adam's question which was basically, was I justified? Did I have a reason? Am I crazy for doing this? And everybody, was pretty much like, you were spot on. The writing's been on the wall for a while.
But this is the wrong person. It's the wrong people to ask, because those are people that you employ. And I understand. I don't really want to get to the end, but I'll say real quickly, my impression is Adam is a great friend. He's one of the guys. He doesn't push his weight around, probably unless he gets really pissed off about something. He lets people do what they want to do, and as long as they can stay, the pirate ship? As long as they can keep the pirate ship pretty much on course, it's let the crew do what they want to do, so everybody's happy. I don't think he's a great boss. I think he's got it confused about being a great guy friend and being a boss. A boss needs the captain of the ship needs to set the course. He needs to keep all the crew in line, if for no other reason, so that they know what to expect, what's expected of them. Being there on time, chiming in whenever there's something to be said about a new book or a movie or whatever. You need to set those expectations. If you do not, and this is management 101, if you don't set the expectations of your people, then the best thing they can do is figure out how they can best react. And you're going to have infighting. People are going to be against each other. It's just not a good situation.
Well, Adam had given a couple of prime examples. I mean, he just didn't, give explanations. Yeah, actually, it was like, this happened on this date.
Oh, they were great.
And there was, and the rest of the crew there kind of backed him up, whether they were paid to do so or not.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things. Like you said, there are expectations. Now, a lot of these expectations kind of go without saying after you've been employed with said boss for a few years. And she was on the payroll for the better part, I think, 4 years or so.
Yeah.
And in about, halfway through, around, 2.5 years or whatever, he gave the example of there was a show that they were doing, and it was just like a one-night show or whatever, and there wasn't supposed to be a lot of people there, and he didn't really have a whole lot of content, and and material and stuff like that. I didn't.
Yeah, it was going to be the second show of the night in Chicago.
Yeah.
And there was not going to be a guest, and he really didn't have any material. He was running thin on stuff. So days or weeks ahead of time, or at least a week ahead of time, I think, he said to Bald Brian and Allison, hey, if you can come up with something, it'll really be a big help. Paraphrasing. And
even just a kind of a lob, a soft pitch, an underhand throw. Give me something that I can comment, react to. Yeah, something to work with. And apparently some balls were dropped. And I don't think those were coming out of Adam's shorts.
No, it was, and I think it was. So it came time, and Adam. I hate all these A names. Adam says, so I mentioned to you, what do you got? And I think Bald Brian's response was, I can come up with something. In other words, I didn't do anything. Yeah, and Allison said, and Allison was a little more direct, as Allison tends to be, and he was like, I got nothing. So he's like, great.
Awesome.
But the interesting thing was, in almost every instance here that he gave through this 20-minute, not I want to say tirade, but these 20-minute, because it was very well done. He very well stated, and I very much understand his decision. But what I picked up through this is that through this entire thing, Brian was doing the exact same thing that Allison was doing, or not doing in many cases.
But and Adam even alluded to that, and he pretty much said, you're kind of guilty of the same exact thing. However, that's not exact. You're not supposed to be living up to those expectations because you're just the sound guy.
But you're isn't. I haven't listened to the show that much. I listened to it, watched it when Allison.
I've been a pretty big fan of the show since its inception, before he even went to or left terrestrial radio. Rather.
Well, for full disclosure, I've mentioned this before, but for full disclosure, I watched Alison Rosen on Red Eye. They put up her Twitter name. I had just gotten on the Twitter, as you kids call it, and found out about her show on Ustream. Watched it, immediately fell in love with her 3-hour behemoth show where she would have live guests come into her apartment, and it was just very funny. She's very funny, and it was really a lot of fun interacting with her through the Ustream chat. So whenever she stopped doing that show and then went on to Adam's show, I started watching that show because I like Allison. So whenever you hear these comments, you need to make sure that you understand, for full disclosure, Adam, who I think is funny and okay, but I would not spend my time listening or watching him. I did while Allison was on there, but it got so tiresome to me, specifically, and I think I mentioned this last time, the little quip that he came up with which was shut it, and then the derogatory comment for the female anatomy.
Yeah, zip it.
Zip it. Sorry. Zip it.
And a word that rhymes with punt.
Or can't. Yeah, can't, but misspelled differently.
Misspelled can't, yes.
Misspelled can't. That was the whole problem. It was just a typo, a misspelling error. That I was wrong. Anyway, once I heard that, it was disrespectful to Allison, and I said, okay, that's fine. She ain't going to stand up and say that's unacceptable, stop doing that. I, as a listener, can take my one listen, my one download away from that, and I stopped listening to the show. I stopped watching the show because of that.
It's no secret that Adam's a little bit misogynist.
Very much so.
It's part of his personality. I mean, and Adam Carolla is one of those guys, either you love him or you hate him, and there's really not a whole lot of room for indifference because of his personality, and that's just and again, that plays into part of this. In that, and he was very upfront, and he gave her lots of praise, and for what she did and how she contributed to the show, because she did really step up to the plate with several segments that she produced, stories that she had written, stuff like that. It's just over the years the chemistry kind of started to fall apart, and even one of the guys that helped Adam with his book, Mike Lynch. Had even kind of from behind the scenes said something similar to that effect, that there was some, he was contributing, trying to help her out in kind of feeding her some stories.
Well, that was his job. His job, even though he lived someplace else, his job was to feed Allison news stories.
as kind of like an off-scene segment producer.
Right, and he hadn't been sending her. Now this is another thing that makes my point. He had not been sending her news stories for several months because she had never used one of his stories.
Right.
Months. This is Mike Lynch's job, according to Adam in this 20-minute thing. That's Mike Lynch's job to do that. And he didn't tell Adam that he wasn't sending the stories in, but he was still collecting the paycheck.
Well,
yet who got fired?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think there's definitely on several levels with several people a breakdown in communication. And I would imagine that that there's probably been a roundtable discussion, a big powwow about levels of communication and stuff since all of this has gone down.
The level of communication, again, has to be set by the person in charge. It's either the person in charge, or if you don't want to be the person in charge, you put somebody in charge. What do they call it? The chief of staff at the White House? If you don't want to be the bad guy, you tell the chief of staff what you want done. You give them the idea of what the direction they want things to go, and then that's the bad guy. So you either hire somebody to be the bad guy, or you be the bad guy. In other words, the one that tell the kids to go to bed at a certain time of day and not whenever the hell they want to. This is why I got a problem with this. I heard of nothing during his 20 minutes where he said that he talked to Allison about this at this time. He talked to her about this thing. In other words, here's an expectation that's not being met. This is what you need to do to change it. No, this just all culminated into something I think that happened over the holidays, probably when Adam didn't have anything else better to do except think about what was going on. He said that's when Mike Lynch made him aware of it because, God bless Bald Brian. Bald Brian kind of did the opposite side, the devil's advocate side, the common sense side. Well, when Mike Lynch told you that he hadn't been using the stories for all this time, did you talk to Allison about it? And Adam's response was, well, this kind of happened over the holidays, so I really didn't have a chance. In other words, I only found out about it during the holidays. No. I only found out about it during the holidays. Allison was away on vacation, and then I fired her, so what was the point in talking to her? So it's poor management, and it's not fair to the employees.
No. But that being said, it's not like she's going to be hurting. You know, I'm pretty sure she's done well for herself up to this point. I agree. And furthermore, I'm fairly certain that she's going to have oodles of success in her own personal ventures. I mean, she's had her own podcast for quite a while. Yeah. I'd say well over a year. The Allison Rosen is your new best friend. And I mean, that's been going strong for a couple years, I would think. I don't think that's going anywhere. I mean, it may or may not. I don't know what's going to happen at this. She may take a little hiatus and kind of maybe reevaluate some things and maybe go in a different direction. She may end up back on TV. I
would hope not, because this is the time. This is the time to have that podcast with all this commentary going on. That's the time to build it. So I hope she doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, with her resume, there's no way that she's not going to end up on some network somewhere, either whether it's in another radio station, whether she continues her career online exclusively, or she ends up back on TV. I have no doubts that she's going to be doing just fine. And in fact, Adam and Bald Brian both they wish her nothing but the best of luck. And I would imagine that Adam is going to go out of his way to give her good recommendation. He aside
you mean
from
except
the
for the 20 minutes
not being there?
You mean except for the 20 minutes of berating her? That the rest of it will be good. Good recommendation.
That's where I'm going to disagree with you. There is that I didn't see it as berating. I saw a lot of compliments. He definitely praised her for what she has done and for her talents. There was just a couple of things that just didn't quite meet up to his unspoken expectations. I agree with you in the sense that there was definitely a breakdown in communication. There was a lack of proper management structure in the whole mix there. There was definitely errors on everybody's side as far as this goes.
Well, let me interrupt you. When you say errors on everybody's side, now if you have a boss that doesn't communicate with you what your expectations are, so the only thing that you can do is go by what you think is best, and your boss actually encourages that either through action or inaction. And then after 4 years of doing let's say for the first year you're very mindful of what the boss must want, and you're not getting anything from the boss, so you look at the other people around. This is the way I need to do things. And then after 2 years of that and wondering and not having the balls enough to sit down and say, hey, let's go over my job expectations. How am I doing my job? What can I do better? And your boss isn't doing it for you. And I think that was the situation here where one's not asking, the other one's not telling, or the one's not telling, the other one's not asking. At some point, you just have to go, screw it. I'm going to go with the best thing that I know how to do, and hopefully that's the best. And after doing it a year and you're still there and nobody's complaining, you do it for another year or maybe 3. And then all of a sudden, the boss has had enough because you're not doing anything he expects, even though you weren't told. So you're out of here and I'm going to fire you with an email. You see what I'm getting at? At some point, it's a good thing. It's not a good fit because, and this is, I guess you get right down to it, it's exactly what Adam said. Allison doesn't make a great sidekick because she has her own thoughts and ideas and she doesn't conform to what she thinks Adam wants to do. And you have to think what Adam wants to do because he sure in the hell won't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, neither of us were there. There may be more that goes on behind the scenes than what we're sort of seeing on the surface, and I'm sure that there is. I mean, I've known. I'm not going to say I've known Adam Carolla because I've never met the guy, but
well, see, that's the same situation I'm in with Allison. I don't know her, but I watched her show 3 hours long, where some of those shows were 3 hours long, and she talked about all kinds of things in her personal life. And it's that podcast thing. People are talking in your ears. It's a very personal situation, and you learn things about them, or at least you think you do. And I think I know. And same thing what you're talking about with Adam. You have a good idea who Adam is based on listening to him every day.
Yeah, true. And I don't have any experience with Allison Rosen outside of the Adam Carolla Show. So I don't, I can't say that there was a distinct point in which things changed. And I didn't hear anything that alluded to that either, that there was, on this, in this month, 2 years ago, there was just a sudden change in her, there wasn't like that. I think it was just a kind of a gradual transformation. And again, like I was saying, there was just errors on everybody's part. Mike Lynch, Bob Bryan, whatever other producers that are there doing what they do. And of course on Adam Carolla's side, and as well as Allison Rosen. It just seems
Allison
like nobody
Rosen
really wanted to step up to the plate and be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
At any time, was there ever like a State of the Union type of thing? Hey, let's just sit down. Let's kind of get on the same page as far as where we're at, what you guys think of me, what I think of you, where we can improve. There was. I don't know if that ever happened. It doesn't sound like it did.
No, I don't think.
And I think that was probably one of the the straws that broke the camel's back, so to speak. That just this house of cards came falling down because there wasn't that management structure. There wasn't that level of communication. There wasn't that anything but let's show up and do the show. Now, there is one thing that kind of plays to Adam on this, in that ever since Loveline, back when he was on MTV with Dr. Drew, one of his things was to keep the chemistry and the spontaneity and the way that the show worked, that he refused and insisted that anybody involved with the show or that was on the show do not talk to him before the show,
right.
Do not talk to him outside the show. He wanted everything to be natural and organic, and to happen as it happened.
Yeah, you and I have done that.
He's always been very detached from that aspect of things.
Well,
because
I don't think it's a detachment.
It's so rooted.
I don't think it's a detachment. I think it's a very good thing. You and I have done this. We'll get connected before we were doing these things, but the pre-show, we would get connected and start chatting about what we were going to talk about on the show, and then we get into conversations, and you or I would go, oh, wait a minute, let's save this for the show, because we're not going to remember what we talked about before. We're going to think about we talked about it already during the show and repeating ourselves. So it's a very valid thing. I applaud him for that, and it makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, you hit the nail right on the head there. But I think that grossly contributed to a lot of this, because he doesn't want to talk about the show, because if you talk about the show, it's going to ruin it, because that's where the chemistry comes from. And like I said, errors on everybody's side. I don't think Allison has anything to worry about.
No.
Is it a tragedy? Sure, maybe. I mean, kind of similar. I'm not going to say similar circumstances, because it was a little bit different with his prior sidekick. Now I'm brain farting on her name.
Teresa
Strasser. Thank you. She was with him for a number of years and then left. But I think that was
she wasn't fired, was she?
She was not fired. She kind of had aspirations of starting a family. She'd gotten pregnant, and with that kind of came some other career choices. And I think she's on TV now. In fact,
well, I think Allison was probably being lazy. I think she probably needed if
sounded like
if she was if Adam's assessment of the 4 years is as he was describing it. At least I'm sure he was describing it in his own mind. But if it was really that way, she should have left a long time ago to pursue other things. But doing that meant that it was going to be more difficult. There probably would have been less money coming in, and you'd have to do more work. It would be less work in a way because you'd just be focusing on your podcast instead of two. But for whatever reason, I think this is a great thing for her. I've always enjoyed listening to her and seeing her on the Ustream thing that I used to watch. So here for a number of years, I have not been able to enjoy her comedy and her spontaneity and the goofy things she comes up with simply because of her association with Adam. And actually, that's part of the things that I have written down here from things that Adam said during his 20-minute, I'll just say tirade about why he fired her. Let me just go over these real quick, and we can touch on them. So I mentioned the Detroit Late Show from a couple of years ago. No guest. He'd be running on fumes. Told Bald Brian and Allison, if you have something, write it down. Didn't happen. Both Bald Brian and Allison fail. It wasn't, and I very much suspect it was the old buddy, the old friend, Adam Carolla, saying, hey, if you got something, write it down. Not the boss saying, look, I don't have anything to talk about. I need you guys to come up with something. You guys work together. I don't care if it's one thing or two things, but one of you come up with something. I don't think it was that way, because that would have been a directive from the boss telling you to come up with something, and not the friend going, hey, if you can come up with something, that'd be great. Oh, that's a Jay Leno. So anyway, another thing, there was a fake book. I remember this because they were doing it back whenever I was still watching the show. Allison came up with this book, What to Expect When You're Expecting, and she would read excerpts from this fake book about being pregnant, what to expect. So it was a bit. It was exactly. I'm not going to
call it a segment. It really was just a bit, because it was all of about 2 or 3 minutes long. It was just an excerpt that she would read from this fake book. And Adam several times during this tirade, as you call it,
even during the show,
her writing, for her writing techniques, her talent for writing is very, very good, and he acknowledged that many times.
And actually, I remember, because I was still listening to it back then, where he would laugh and he just thought it was very funny. And I think I even remember him saying, we should make this a regular deal. You should do more of these. And
that rings a bell in my head too.
And I was disappointed when they didn't happen. And I thought to myself, that's strange, because I was hopeful for her, being a pseudo friend from the internet, and wanting her to succeed just because of all the entertainment that I had gotten from watching her. I was hopeful that, this is great. Adam likes this, and he's asking her to do more of it, and he really likes it. That means she's going to stay there for a while. She'll be successful. I'll be happy for her success. And then she just wasn't doing it, and I thought it was really strange.
Yeah, I thought so too. I didn't know if it was some women's rights activist group or something like that called up and started bitching.
Hey, it could be.
And or what happened, who knows?
Been...
I mean, segments come and go, bits come and go, things get funny and then they don't get funny, and things lose their charm, and that's just the natural progression of things. I figured that was just part of the thing, until Adam commented on it and saying, I love that bit, and for whatever reason she just stopped doing it.
But you have to wonder, how was it said? If in his mind on the show he says, that's great, you should do more of that, that's different than taking the time off the show. And I don't think Adam does this. I don't think he talks to people. I think Adam is very much the man kind of guy who doesn't talk to people. I understand that. You probably understand that whenever you're in your day-to-day life, there's probably hours that you go without even saying a word to anybody because you're a guy, whereas a woman is constantly talking about this, that, or the other. I know, because I hear them. I've always heard them at work. It's going on and on, where I'm focusing on what I'm doing. They can multitask. They can talk and think about what they're doing.
speaking of women's roles, there was one of his complaints is that Bald Brian would have to take the role of these role playing skits that they would do. They would reenact a story of that was in the news or whatever. They'd be making fun of a story and they'd kind of reenact a little bit of a part of it with some satire and some comedy thrown in. And Allison, if there was like a husband and a wife role, it's this couple, they got in this argument or whatever, and it was part of the story, she wouldn't engage.
Mm-hmm.
This is a natural role. This is a perfect opportunity for some improv and to bring some funny. And it was him and Bald Brian, and Adam would play the role of the wife, or Bald Brian would play the role. No, that's not what I
heard. I heard that Bald Brian would play the role of the woman, and Adam would always play the. Really?
Usually.
Okay, because what I heard was he was always playing the man. I was just going to say a real boss, a real employee would have felt comfortable saying, "I'm tired of playing the woman. You're going to play the woman," and just taking it over and made the boss play the woman, because that's funny, and that means there's an open, good feeling about the hierarchy at the job. But anyway, that's what I picked up out of that. So,
I think the biggest thorn in his side was this whole logo thing on her. It was her podcast or her website or something like that.
She was being featured on iTunes, and her logo was being featured on iTunes. So that's a big stick. I mean, that's a huge stick. Yeah. And Adam thought, hey, it'd be nice, especially since I've promoted her podcast. I haven't promoted anybody else's podcast. I haven't even promoted my own wife's podcast, but I'm promoting Allison Rosen is Your Best Friend podcast on my show. And it'd be nice to have what he called was a bug, which I think is a little Adam Carolla Digital or Carolla Digital logo on that. And perfectly understandable. It's his studio. Absolutely. It's his people. She's an employee of his, and out of the goodness of his heart, and I'm sure profitable as well, he lets her have the show and gives her all these other things to do it. I don't know if she's having to pay for any of that stuff. I suspect not, because it was part of the network.
And he made it seem like he wasn't asking for top billing. He was just asking for hey, just throw this little logo up in the corner.
Give me a crumb,
something like that.
Just a crumb, just a little something.
Just a smidgen.
It's just all my stuff that you're using, including my people.
Just my network that you're broadcasting on. It's just my studio and my employees that you're using to record this with. But hey. I guess that's too much to ask out of somebody.
Hands down, that was more than reasonable for him to ask.
Yeah.
More than reasonable. Now, the only thing, and he brought this up, the only thing that he could think of was because of his political affiliation and her super left leaning thing, and I know this about Allison from years of interacting with her and watching her on the show. I'm very conservative, but I can look past those faults, those liberal faults, and I would, of course, liberals have a tough time looking past conservative faults. So anyway, she was concerned that, according not from her mouth, but from Adam and from what he was hearing from his people, she was concerned that his logo being on there might mean that she couldn't get guests on the show, or it would turn people off to her podcast.
Yeah. You and I have disagreed on a number of things over the years, and it hasn't changed our chemistry one bit. In fact,
what did we disagree on?
If you're running a podcast and all you got and all you're surrounded with is yes men, it's going to get real boring real quick. If there's no opposing side, if there's no opposing opinion, if there's no other side to the coin. And it's just, your opinion. Like, yes, yeah, that's great. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, me too, boss. You need to have a little bit of that controversy. Yeah. And of course, something on a level like politics. And I wouldn't call Adam an overly political guy. He certainly has strong opinions about a lot of stuff. That's Adam. But, it's I wouldn't say that a difference in opinion on politics, it would be a big thing in this case. I don't know how political Allison is. I don't know that aspect of her. The Adam Carolla Show has never really been all that political, although he's had a couple of politicians on the show for grins and giggles if they're something relative going on and stuff like that. But again, that's just production.
Right.
I wouldn't. He's not a political activist. He's not involved in a lot of stuff except for this whole patent troll thing.
Yeah, and that was an interesting thing. Another great point by Adam. So you guys may not be familiar with, but this patent troll basically had a patent for podcast. It's bogus because there's clear evidence that there was there was podcasting things prior to this the date of this patent. But he was the patent troll was trying to basically trying to extort money from Adam Carolla, so to not to be sued or something from this patent troll. And Adam fought it, and hats off to him. I think that's great, especially from
absolutely
a couple of podcasters here. Hats off. Thank you very much.
Well, that's just it. Is he's taken the fight. He's the tip of the spear for all of us little guys, because we don't have those kind of bucks laying around to afford to make those kind of fights, to fight those kind of fights. So. Absolutely. Hats off to Adam for stepping up to the plate and doing this. Thank you very much. Because
$650,000 in legal fees.
I can't even. That's a number. I can't count that high. I don't know if there's.
I aspire
that kind of money.
I aspire to have a podcast show or network where I can afford to. $650. And would you pitch in? No, that's fine. Okay, no problem. Because that's what happened. He asked Allison, or actually he told Allison that several podcasts were going to pitch in their a month or so, or I don't remember, but some of their windfall,
their proceeds,
proceeds from their Amazon purchases, just like we do on the XG Talk Show. We get the little couple of nickels from Amazon every month for people that make purchases, and Allison was absolutely not.
She didn't want to use the affiliates links on her website. She didn't want to start asking for donations through her own podcast. In fact, was pretty much completely hands off through the entire thing. Yet reaping the benefits of Adam's legal actions.
Oh yeah,
which she, I guess, after being pressured for so much for so long. She finally was like, well, I guess I can, do this. And it was like auctioning off one of her T-shirts. Like she's some huge celebrity that's going to get, $10,000 for her T-shirt because she wore it, this one time or something like that. And it's like, that might, I think he said, that might get like $20 or $30 or something.
50,
I mean, I'm sure
50,
it would get a little more than that, but. But really, it's just the principles behind the actions.
So we can't know what's going on. She may have been really relying on that money. She may have not had enough money to make next month's house payment or something. Whenever he asked, we don't know. Certainly, it sounds reasonable for him to have asked that, but we don't know what's going on. There's this term that I was going to say Allison coined, but I think it's some of Allison's friends, personal friends, people that she actually invites to go places. Or invites them to parties. They called it Rosenating, because she has a tendency to get in this mental rotating thing where she worries about stuff, and it's cyclical. So she thinks about it and tries to figure an answer, and she can't figure an answer. So I suspect that what happened was whenever he asked her, would you pitch in, and she says no, absolutely not. She realized what she had said and what she had done, and that it wasn't reasonable. And she didn't want to maybe not go into the reasons why. So she was trying to come up with another thing that she could do. And I can auction off a T-shirt, which sounds insane.
Hold on. Let me just take a seat here, because you just blew me over with your generosity there.
A whole T-shirt. So but I certainly understand Adam's perspective, especially if he's looking at $650,000 of legal fees. Oh my God! But yeah, I understand, and that's another nail in the coffin for the firing. So what was the other thing? There was several other things here.
There were several things. I mean, there was the whole book cover thing. There was the personal aspect. Just not really being friendly and stuff, because he has a long-standing friendship outside of professional wise with Bald Brian. Bald Brian went through cancer. Adam was very much a part of his life through all that. Helped him out a little bit through that as well. There's definitely a friendship there, as with several other people that are involved with the show.
I believe that.
That was not present with Allison and him.
Well, and Allison can choose to be friends with whoever she wants to be friends with, or interact with whoever she wants to interact with. But I personally experienced the exact same thing much lesser degree with Allison.
That's funny because I did too. I mean, I asked to come over to her house so many times, and she said no each and every time. What a bitch, right?
Did you also get the restraining order? I just that was the thing that got me.
Cease and desist. See you later.
Well,
yeah.
There was a situation where she actually was doing a bit on her Ustream show about going out, finding a person to date. And she was basically using Ustream, her show, to promote that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This was actually on the Adam Carolla Show, where they were trying to find her a guy to date. And I'm thinking to myself...
Oh, that's right. They made a whole game out of it and stuff.
I was thinking to myself, this is absolutely insane, because you're going to get some creep matched up with Allison because of this show, and something bad's going to happen. It's not going to be a good situation. It's not going to be a love match. It's just going to be just a horrible situation, potentially. And you could tell as the bit got closer and closer, she started getting more and more uncomfortable with it. And rightly so.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was uncomfortable with it from the get-go, but she was being a good sport about it. And, so I mean, it's definitely one of those things. And it was, I mean, the whole thing was a bit. It was just kind of I'm not going to call it a PR stunt, but I mean, that's essentially what it was when you break it down. So, was it a lot of fun and publicity at her expense? Sure. But, it's not like Adam hasn't done any self-deprecating himself. I mean, look at all the, everything on The Man Show. Take a look at some of the scenes in his movie, The Hammer. I mean, he's not without some deprecation himself. He's definitely been in the public eye for so many years and has put himself, put himself out there to the point of where he's made fun of himself. Other people have made fun of him.
Oh, yeah.
There's been a lot of, shit slinging about Adam Carolla over the years. There's a lot of people that don't like him, and they've been very public about it. So, I mean, does it make it okay? Does it make it equal? Is it a balanced situation? I don't know. If she was that vehemently opposed to it, if it really got to her that bad, then she should have spoke up a little bit more earlier and often to kind of put the kibosh on that and stop it before it got, because that was a long rolling bit. They went with that for several weeks.
Yes, yeah,
and that's it just kept going.
And that was kind of my earlier point. Adam, to me, doesn't seem like the type of person to actually sit people down and talk to them. And Allison is, to me, not the type person that is going to say, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something. I don't like this bit. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do this. And she just doesn't address it." So anyway, what I was saying earlier was, I very much got the idea that when Allison is on the show, whether it be Ustream or Adam's show or her own show, she's very nice. She's very personable. She's very welcoming. She's your new best friend, and I think it's genuine. I don't think it's an act. I think that is the person that she would like to be all the time. And because the camera's on or the microphone's on, she finds it in herself to be that person that she would like to be. But when the camera's off, the microphone's off, she's off.
Yeah, I think that happens with a lot of people that are kind of in the biz like that. When you're in front of the camera or in front of them or in front of a microphone or something like that, you have to be on. You have to be, and especially when you're involved in a comedic podcast, you better be bringing some funny. Mm-hmm. Because if you're just droll and you're like Dopey the whole time, or Eeyore is like, "Oh, that sure was funny." It's just you have to have that kind of personality, whether it's genuine or not. She might be one hell of an actress. I don't know what she's like, in her personal life. I've never met her personally. I'm sure she's got lots of friends that say have nothing but the highest of regards for her.
She's had them on her show, and you can see there's a genuine friendship there. So I don't want to say that it's completely off, but as far as it's like me talking to people at work as opposed to talking to people on my own time. I don't talk to people on my own time because I don't want to. When I'm at work, that's something that's expected of me to be.
I don't ever stop talking.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the reasons why my wife looks at these podcasts and go, You're friendly. You're nice. You're talking to people. You got things to say. Who is this person?
Yeah. Who are you and what have you done with my husband?
Yeah. Where's the pod? Where's the empty pod? So anyway, speaking of empty pods, it's been a long show.
This is one podcast that went a little long, guys. But as you can tell, I mean, these are fellow podcasters. These are guys that are guys and gals. These are people that are our fellow ilk. These are folks that are basically doing the same kind of stuff we are. We're doing the same kind of stuff they are. We're on the same team. So of course we're going to be talking about these people. It's relevant. It's hot. It's sensational. And guys, we want to hear what you have to say about all this as well. Head over to TonyandJosh.com. Use the SpeakPipe feature there and leave us a voicemail. Let us know what you guys think. Of course, you can hit us up on Twitter at Tony and Josh Show. And, of course, make sure you guys, when you're tweeting, use the hashtag Tony and Josh or Tony and Josh Show. We want to hear what you guys have to say about this or any of our podcasts. Of course, chime in on it. We always are looking forward to hearing from you guys, our listeners.
Yep. And I just want to do another quick shout-out to Joe Somebody who said, just give me a time code. I don't want to hear about what you ate over the holidays.
And I'd like to go ahead and give a shout out to the Paps Boys. Make sure you guys check out their YouTube channel over at YouTube /Paps Boys. Just do a search over there on YouTube. I'm not sure what the exact link is, but they've got some good stuff over there. They're always bringing some funny as well. The Paps Boys in the house tonight. Thank you guys for joining in on the fun.
And I'll just say, Allison, I'm sorry.
And Adam Carolla, call me.
I'll also say, it's Adam's show. It's Adam's business. He can run it absolutely any way he wants to. All I have is my opinion on how I think it should be run. I don't run a big podcast. I don't make that kind of money. It's just my opinion based on knowing absolutely nothing about the facts and nothing about running the business. So
I was going to say you should have stopped just right there about not knowing absolutely anything. But
yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So Adam, I understand. You can do what you got to do. This is my opinion. Be a manager. Take the time to tell people exactly what you're thinking. I know it's not you, unless you're on the show. But don't use the show to tell them, because they go, oh, well, this is Adam being funny. This is Adam being Adam. You do it to their face. You call them into your office. Or you call them into the shop where you've got your cars and your piston firing orders and new carburetor that you're putting on there, and you sit them down. You put the toys down, and you sit in the chair, and you look at them face to face, and you go, this is what you need to do. I like this. You need to do more of it. Anyway.
Oh, those Mikuni side draft carburetors on a Datsun.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Have a great night.
From the mind of Nikki G.
I'm slipping.
This has been From the Mind of Nikki G.
Oh, the disdain and boredom in your face.
When?
When you're looking at the clock going, how long is this going to go on?
Oh, no. I knew we were running long. I knew we were going to run long on this. So, yeah, no big deal.
No, I think sometimes it's like, when is this guy going to shut up and let me make my point?
No.
And with the ability to talk over you now, it's horrible. Because I can jump
power comes great responsibility.
Because I can jump in there. I feel so Adamish. Anyway, I really enjoyed that. It's something that I have a lot of interest in, a lot of opinions about, and it was fun getting through there. But boy, just going and chatting about stuff, and then I realized that there was a whole list of things that I had written down. A professional would have just said, oh, well, didn't have time for that list. The laziness person was, I spent all this time writing this crap down. I'm going over it. I did want to report what he had to say in that 20 minutes or so, because that is what we were talking about.
We had to do some clarification because we didn't on the last episode.
Yeah. Well, that's whenever I was told terrible commentary. Of course, I took that personally. He could have been talking about you.
Very well could have been.
Oh, and I didn't get to mention it, but I like it whenever we have disagreements. I like it when people disagree with me, because quite often they're not insane. They just they either have different information, or the information they have they looked at differently. And because of that, if I engage with them and listen to how they came up with that crap they're thinking, I often go, oh, yeah, I can see that. I don't agree with it, but I certainly see how that's one possibility, one way of looking at that information. And I've done that with my oldest son, who I disagree with, and I guess, and maybe this is an understatement. I try to curtail it, but I have a strong personality and have strong opinions, and I'm very much a right-wrong type person. So I look at it as a bonus when my children disagree with me and they stand their ground, because I feel like it's like I don't want to upset Dad, not because I'm going to get hit, not because I'm going to have any kind of there's going to be any kind of repercussions financially or physically, but because he's going to talk to me for the next half hour about telling me why he thinks the way he thinks, and indirectly telling me why he thinks I'm wrong. So anyway, I always like talking to my kids about things, and it's always fun talking to other people that have differing opinions, because as I say it's always the possibility to learn something new.
Yeah, never turned down a good learning experience.
So how was the audio for you this show?
Fine.
Any different?
After we went through those little bit of adjustments there in the very beginning, things kind of calmed down, and I mean it sounds fine. That being said, there has been a couple of times where I kind of get up into a little bit more volume, and at the same time when you talk, I hear static. Like something is being overloaded a little bit. Something it's distorted. I don't know. It's weird. It sounds like broadcast static.
I bet you
so
that.
I don't know.
I bet you that has to do with me looping your audio back to you. Because if your volume increases and you start getting static, it may be because you're starting to clip. You're starting to get the audio is getting too loud on your side. Anyway, when I get the other cable in and I'm not sending your audio back to you, we'll see if it stays.
Now, I am not sending your audio back to you anymore. I don't think. Am I? No. I've because right now I'm running the Skype audio through the USB device going into the CD tape of input of the mixer, and I have the option of removing the CD tape from the main mix.
Oh, good.
So essentially, yeah, it's going into my mixer and just straight to the headphones, and it's not going any further.
Good. That's exactly what we needed. And when I get that magic cable, then I'll be doing the same with you.
Okay. Now I don't like how this is hooked up, because I don't have any I have to go into Skype to do the adjustment.
Oh yeah, because the CD is line level. Right.
Yeah, it's line level, and I don't like that. So I may try and use this. I may try and throw the little mixer in line so that I have some adjustability on that, just knob wise, but. might try to do some other configurations now. Let's see, where did I put the cable?
So the only time you have to adjust that is whenever you're trying to set the level for you to hear it, because it doesn't matter with the mixer.
Right. Now, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to grab the camera here and show you something. So if I were to hook something up here to the mixer, let's say I wanted to run it through one of the channels. When I hit the mute button, it sends it to the Alt 3/4. Oh, here we go. It sends it to the Alt 3/4 mix now, or it sends it to the Alt 3/4 channels when it's muted. So I can come over to my Q section and I can bring up the Alt-3-4 on the Q, and I can send that to just because once I hit that mute, it's only going to go to the Alt-3-4. It's going to take it out of the main, but I can hit the Alt-3-4 on the Q and hear it through that. The problem is that when I did that, and the way that I was that I had that hooked up, just put that camera back here real quick. The way that I had that hooked up initially is I was using 1/8 inch to XLR, kind of a weird cable, but the level was so horribly low that I couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, that's that's the cable you're on right now, by the way.
You're using one of these right now?
Yep.
Huh, interesting.
But I mean, that's the audio that you're getting from me.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't tested this. I bought it brand new. It was a.
I don't think you got a cable.
It was a Hosa.
That's what I got.
No,
I don't think it's a cable issue. I think it's because of what you're hooking it up to, and that's why I think you're going to have problems with another mixer, because a mixer isn't an amplifier. A mixer is it takes the level down. It's going to suck the audio levels down. And that's why I was thinking what you need to do is split the audio to your headphones so that you can, just do it completely separate. But, you may make it work out. I don't know. I'm just thinking based on a little experience, not a lot, not directly with what you're gonna be using. But anyway, on the bright side is you're not sending the audio back. We ought to try Mumble. I guess if we'd done a 30-minute show, we could.
Yeah, I was going to say we're not going to have time for that tonight, but yeah, sure. So I got to finish writing up this promo here real quick. All right, and
I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the audience. Thank you guys very much for joining us on the live show tonight. And I'll make one comment that I didn't make during the show. I got the very real sense that Adam was concerned that Allison wasn't being engaging in any of his things, his book, his movies, other than having a part in the movie, inviting him to any personal functions, parties, dinner at her house, etc., etc. And I thought about something that I thought about long ago when we first started podcasting. I thought it would be really cool to have, if you will, my mentor, my podcasting mentor, because as I was sitting there watching the Ustream show, I'm learning things about doing podcasting and how to put it together and so on and so forth. I thought it would be nice for my pseudo-mentor to actually take the time to watch and make comment on my podcast. And I'm trying to think, I don't believe that's ever happened. I struggled very, very hard not to reach out and say, hey, would you take the time to look at this and see what you think of it? Because I guess because of what I knew and because I didn't want to be disappointed and so on and so forth. So I didn't. And I firmly believe that she's never looked or heard any podcast or professional thing that I've done, and I don't expect her to. Even with all this talk about that we'll be doing, all the tweets that I've been doing, I still don't expect that she would even take the time to listen. Not because she's a bad person, but it's very much that on-the-air personality compared to off-the-air personality. It's just not how she's wired. And I think that's what Adam didn't understand, that's just the way she's wired about inviting people. And it may even be that she just doesn't feel people would be interested in coming to her house and having dinner. Or Adam wouldn't be interested in that. That wouldn't be a thing that he would do. I don't want to put myself in that situation where I get told no. I don't know. Just saying. It's the right thing to do, whether or not what result you expect. It's the right thing to do. And at any rate, I'm giving advice to somebody that I shouldn't give advice to, because I'm very much the same way she is. So, but I try to listen to my wife whenever she tries to explain to me how to be a person. Anyway, I will say a very good night to you guys, and we will wrap this up so we can do our promo, and Josh can get in bed before time to get up at 4 a.m.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, and thank all of you guys for joining us. Make sure you join us next week. In the meantime, make sure to tell a friend if you guys like the show. Get some kind of enjoyment out of this. Make sure you spread the word. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Go to iTunes and give us a review.
Oh, that would really help.